You guys ready to chop it up? Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Chop It Up podcast. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited tonight. I know I say that all the time, but really, I am so excited. And this is the first time we actually have two beautiful, beautiful women that's very intelligent and that's going to speak about something that's so dear to so many of us. So, guys, before we even get there, I just want to tell you guys and all our listeners, thank you so much for your support. We see the numbers going up. We just appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for your support. So as I said, welcome back to Chop It Up. As you guys know, Chop It Up is all about unfiltered conversation, really talking about lifestyle, talking about our health and our wellness. Tonight is no different, you guys. Tonight is no different. We have the amazing honor of speaking with two beautiful women, talking about something that affects so many. One, we have Phyllis Frempong. She is a speaker. She's also a registered nurse as well as a yoga coach. Phyllis is on a mission to educate women on uterine fibroid. So we are so excited to hear from her, especially get her expertise in this area. And additional, we also have Kiona Meyer. She's a native of Chester, Pennsylvania. She's a yoga instructor, and she uses natural remedies in terms of how and holistically how we can all deal with uterine fibroid. So ladies, welcome back to the Chop It Up. How are you?
Great.
Good. How are you?
Well, I should say welcome to Chop It Up. This is your first time, right?
Yeah.
Well, we
Welcome to
already
Chop It Up.
family.
Yes, exactly. Well, ladies, I'm so excited to, just talk to you and really have an organic conversation. Preparing for this episode, I wanted to do my research. Thank goodness to Wikipedia. I found something out, and Phyllis, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It said something to the essence of an estimated 26 million women in the United States between the ages of 15 and 50 have uterine fibroids. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My goodness.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So Phyllis, tell us about that. Like, what is your work with fibroid and what is being done about that?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So I've been able to turn my pain into power by really focusing on the things outside of the diagnosis of uterine fibroids, which I was diagnosed about 14 years ago. And I had to demand for an ultrasound, right? I didn't really know what fibroids were. I just knew that my mom went through some suffering with it. I knew that the symptoms during my menstrual cycle were not normal, that I was experiencing every month, like pain, bloating, fatigue. And in my first year of nursing school, I had a flashback when I was getting my womb wellness checkup of my mom going through her experiences as a child and not really understanding that. So I had asked the doctor for an ultrasound after, going back and forth with her. She finally did it, and that confirmed the diagnosis of uterine fibroids. And I was told to just monitor it back then. And that did not help the situation as they continued to grow. But after repeated doctor's appointments, feeling frustrated, not getting any solutions beyond a surgery and a pill that are not permanent solutions, I thought, you know what, I need to take matters into my own hands. So I started to really educate my mindset with motivational videos, surrounding myself around people that inspire me. And I started to really change my way of thinking when it came to the relationship with my body, as uterine fibroids is a reflection of the things that our body goes through in this environment where we live in, that contribute to how uterine fibroids surface, right? So being able to use natural remedies, developing a program that really covers the mindset, the way that you move, and the way that you eat that works for you and your lifestyle, has helped me address a lot of the chronic inflammation and stress that contributes to uterine fibroids. So being able to no longer have 8 days of heavy cycles, now it's 3 days with a panty liner, right? And no pain at all. And being able to just have the motivation to wake up every day with a sense of purpose, and also do things that I never thought I can do with having fibroids, and they were not small. So now I'm in a position to use my passion, my experience and knowledge to pay it forward and help other women be able to overcome and manage the hormonal chaos where they're not repeating this, getting surgery and then growing back. And then, soon you know it, everyone wants to get a hysterectomy. It's like, forget it, take it out. And do we really have to go down this road if we are more preventative and, take some health promotion ways of living? And you asked, why is this going on? Well, I really feel it's the environment that plays a huge role. This environment we're living in does not agree with our body. And our body is not resonating with it. And until we get into harmony with that from, again, a dynamic perspective, not just the way you eat, but the way you move, think, plastics that you're putting in your body, all of that stuff, until those things are unraveled, we will continue to live in a war between the environment and our bodies. So.
Wow, you said that so profoundly. My goodness. Maya, I want you to jump in. What do you think in terms of what Phyllis said, and how is your work in terms of yoga? How can that also assist us?
Certainly. And one thing I want to highlight, as we're three Black women, one thing with fibroids that we see is that the numbers are even higher for Black women for fibroids. And so that is another reason why we need to raise the alarm on this thing and say, like, this is something that we have to stop just dealing with in silence. And that's how I started out for me. And so I was originally diagnosed with endometriosis. So I started out my womb wellness, or my womb journey, with endometriosis, diagnosed at a very young age. I think I was 24, maybe even 23. I cannot remember. I was very young, had never heard of this before. It was very scary. And back then we didn't have Instagram. We didn't have Facebook groups. We didn't have those things to be able to find community. I didn't know that many people dealt with it. I just didn't know. I thought that, this is just something that I just got a bad hand. That's how I felt. And so I just went along with the doctor's recommendation. And I'm not saying it in a way that the doctors are wrong, but in some ways, a quick fix is always thrown at things, but we're not getting to the root of the issue. And as I want to echo what Phyllis says, so many things really boil down to inflammation. And so if we can get to inflammation issue, we can probably heal a lot of different things outside, even outside of our womb, that are plaguing our community. And so yeah, first came endo, next came fibroids. And it became a thing where, again, I'm dealing with this on my own. People saw me change my diet, and I don't know what they thought it was for, but really and truly, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got sick and tired of just, being thrown injections and pills and different things like that, but really weren't fixing the issue. And so I started making some changes within myself to also heal my body. And it wasn't until actually like last year that I started really speaking up about it. And it has really opened doors for me because I didn't talk about it. It was just something I dealt with on my own. And then I found that by being transparent and being open about what I'm going through now, people message me all the time, asking me questions. And I'm grateful to be a resource to people, to be a connector to people, and to help them through this, because everybody doesn't want to speak up about what they're going through. And so I'm grateful to be used as a vessel to assist and facilitate healing. And so to answer your question regarding yoga, it's so important because, as Phyllis mentioned, it's not just about movement or the asanas, it's also about breath. And one thing about us is that as a people, we're breathing very shallowly, like we are taking very shallow breaths. We don't take the time to relax. We don't prioritize rest. Everyone is looking to get a badge of honor for being overworked and for hustling. And sometimes that's good, but sometimes we need to find time to prioritize rest, give our body a break. If our body is constantly working, it's like a car. You know, if you're constantly running your car into the ground, you don't take the time to put any maintenance into it, how long do you think it's going to run? And so that's the same thing for our body. So not only taking the time to move our body and watch what we eat, but also taking the time to do some breath work, to take some meditation to assist us with our healing process.
I love that. Phyllis, I love that analogy in terms of the car, right? That's such a perfect analogy because many times we don't, like you said, we have this hustle or mentality. We live in such a society where we have to continually produce and our bodies are drained. And that is so in alignment with what you were talking about, is that our bodies are not in sync with what is going on with the environment. I never thought about it that way. And being fully transparent, because this is Chop It Up, is that, as you said, women of color are predominantly dealing with this. Last week, that's why I was so excited to talk to you ladies, because just last week I had this conversation with my gynecologist and I was explaining to her, I was like, hey, I am having these severe pains, like being fully transparent, because I can't be on Chop It Up if I don't keep it real, right, ladies?
Right.
Yeah. And my gynecologist said, she looked at me and she said, well, pain is relative. And I'm like, wait. Yeah. No, she's amazing though. She really is. But she said, pain is relative. Your pain is different from X, Y, and Z. And which that is true. But it brought up a deeper conversation about pain. Phyllis, you are a registered nurse. Why do you think that there is a myth, or there is some type of sense that Black women can endure more pain than any other demographic? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a profound question. And I really think it traces back to, just the stereotypical ideas and racism and the energy of all of that. As, melanated women, we go through a lot, right? We've been through a lot. Our mom, our grandmother, they were, had much more of a harder time back then than we did, of course. And how do they handle it, right? Keeping it to themselves, keeping it moving, right? Keeping the family afloat. So there was no way of cultivating our emotions, our mental well-being, and keeping all of that energy in over time causes masses, causes something physical, right? And being passed down to our offspring, offspring passing it down, where it starts to it's just in our bloodline, right? It's in our DNA. And I feel that that is not only a contribution of this way of thinking, but also how society looks at us as a race, thinking that we are immune to this type of treatment. As a nurse, I've dealt with a lot of, patients, especially patients of color who need something for pain. They are having some symptoms that they may need some pain medication, and the stigma that surrounds that we are being too needy or complaining, we can handle it, right? Mm-hmm. And really just being an advocate for yourself and speaking up is definitely something to move in that direction. Also, pain is also a reflection of inflammation. So knowing that your doctor said that's relative, but it's abnormal. The thing is, there's pain, you're having pain, and why are you having pain? What is the underlying issue? And that's what I help women do, is really connect the dots, because there's got to be something going on. Usually it starts in the GI, in the gut, that is causing systematic a reaction that's not resonating with the body. And you may feel pain, you may feel bloating, you may feel fatigue, but having pain does reflect that something is negatively going on in the body that needs to be addressed.
Absolutely. And I must say, before I allow Maya to chime in, is that, like you said, you have to be an advocate for yourself. Even in that conversation, I was challenging her and I was like, well, no, this does not feel normal. And I cannot be taking all these pills. And this was just recently, within the last year, I've been having severe pains. And, I advocated so much so that she was like, okay, I'm going to send you to a specialist. And you're absolutely right. So Maya, what has been some of your challenges or even experience? Has it been similar? And what have you been able to, how have you been able to push through that?
I think for me, as the person who was diagnosed with a womb issue in my early 20s, there is that period when you're a young adult, when you're like, am I an adult, or am I, still kind of under my parents' care? And so it feels a bit abnormal speaking up for yourself, but you have to do it. You really have to do it. No matter what age you are that you're dealing with this, even if you're a teenager, speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself. And I think what it really boils down to is learning your body. No one knows your body like you. You are the expert on your body. And so if something feels abnormal to you, continue to push, continue to push. There have been so many people that have diagnosed themselves, essentially. I have a friend who, she was like, I found the lump myself for, breast cancer. She found it herself. And so advocate for yourself, know your body, listen to your body. A lot of times your body will give you little warning signs before it starts going haywire. And so listen to those small warning signs and not allow it to get, to the point where you're unbearable, till it's unbearable. And I think the other thing is sometimes, again, I think I mentioned this before, but sometimes people feel that whatever a doctor prescribes for me is what I have to take. And that is not true. So knowing that you have the option to discontinue anything that does not align with your body. When I first was diagnosed with endometriosis, they put me on a very strong medication that essentially put me into like a menopausal state. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Like the side effects from it definitely, were worse than what I was actually dealing with as far as pain. And so I chose for myself, get me off of this. You will not be injecting this into my body. Whereas for some people, I think that personality wise, they may feel uncomfortable or feel that is wrong to say, okay, no, I want to take another route. But no, you have autonomy over your body all day, every day. And so feel comfortable. And, you can still do it in a way that respects the work and the study of your doctor. Not saying that your doctor is wrong, but you have autonomy over your body, and take that autonomy, take it. And if that means sometimes maybe even getting a second opinion, do that. Do your research. We have way more information out there than we did back in the day. I mean, the internet was around, but we have way more information out here. Do some research, ask some friends who their doctor is, and you might get a different result.
I'm loving that. And that's a really good segue, because we're going to listen, ladies, this is Chop It Up. So we're going to chop it up. Let's talk about autonomy over your body. I like that, because lately in the news, we see that we have a lot of congressional leaders, mostly white men, that are speaking up on women's health, right? And so what is this conversation? How do you guys feel about this conversation of men or people in Congress speaking about women's health and women's bodies? What is your take on that, Phyllis?
I really think it's just, I feel like it's just like a program that people just feel like they need to be heard, whether it makes sense or not. But it's the position of power and money. And whatever that takes to make decisions for others, it can be truly invisible when it comes to the seduction of it, but also it being unethical. But what is in our control at this moment, right? And I feel that women need to step up. As Keith said, really continue to know your body, because the thing is, if you can do whatever you can to cultivate the relationship with yourself, avoiding, if possible, things like birth control that can interrupt the communication between you and your womb, right? And the symptoms and the signs that you can catch early, really focus on foods that are going to bring energy to the body so your body works optimally. So really putting into your body things that are going to help you cultivate and communicate, so that way you can be a better self-advocate for yourself, and also be in a position, whether it be with Congress or in a leadership position, to step up and really be the point person in some of these communities and some of this in these different organizations where we're having more women be in a position to speak for us versus the typical, white male that has no uterus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear me. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
What, Maya, what do you say?
I think that one thing that I would like to highlight is just the importance of conversation and knowledge sharing amongst women. And I think that that is one of the things that, the patriarchal society would love for us to be not on the same page, should be against each other, and to not come together. Because if we come together, that's a threat. That's a threat to the systems that have been put in place for centuries. And so I think that is important to, share information to help each other to feel comfortable and knowing that you're not alone, that, you're not, that you're not just, you did something wrong in your life and this is some kind of, sentence for it, or that, you're sick. Or I think that it's important to have sisterhood and community. That's so important. It's a passion of mine to create containers for women to heal together, for women to find resources, to find each other, and to be able to rally together and stand up for things and stand up for ourselves. And so maybe, I don't have the words to say to my doctor or to whomever is trying to force something on me, but my sister might be able to be like, oh, well, listen, next time say X, Y, and Z. Oh no, you can ask for this test. And so maybe because I feel a little bit more educated on it, because Phyllis told me from a medical perspective what specifically to ask for, then I feel more confident requesting these tests. And you can tell your doctor, if you request a test and your doctor refuses, you can say, please put that in my chart that I have requested this test and you have refused to test me. Put it in my chart, because if something goes down the road, and you can go ahead and have that documentation if need be, to say, I've requested additional testing and it was not approved, or whatever the case may be. And again, you can always go to someone else. And so I think the biggest thing is for women as a whole to communicate and to share this knowledge with our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, be open, stop having conversations about the womb and about, women's health being such a taboo thing. Stop using terms that are incorrect. Like, call body parts what they are, and stop acting like it's such a weird topic to talk about, because we're not learning this in health classes. I don't think they're teaching it in health classes now. You don't learn about this. I had never heard the word fibroids growing up. And so imagine being a person who went through high school, went through health classes and all these things, and you've never heard of it. And you get to college and you're told that you have a fibroid. You're like, wait, what? And so, having this education, it starts at home. So having the education and sharing knowledge with the women who we're connected with, and the young women we're connected with, so they can feel empowered, so that if they do get this this diagnosis, they don't feel like, oh God, what's next? And they're just grasping for straws when the knowledge is out here.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's kind of like what I was talking about earlier, Phyllis, in terms of, and you were talking about that in being an advocate and maybe working with, legislators and changing laws, making it more where young people are educated. Because like you said, Maya, when I was in school in health class, like we never spoke about that. Like, I didn't even know what that is. Only recently I figured out what it is, honestly. So yeah, we do need to have those conversations on a greater scale, indeed. So Phyllis, I have to ask you, being that you are the expert, you're the expert here. I wanted to ask you, why is it, because I was talking to a few friends of mine, and I have a dear friend. She actually had a really hard time finding a doctor, a specialist. She just had extreme pains. She didn't know what it was, and she had a really hard time getting a specialist. So why do you think women of color have a hard time finding care, especially with uterine care?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I do feel that we are not, at least most of us are not up to date on just what's out there. Being where we're not in these groups, we're not being included in these conversations. We're doing what our mom and our grandma used to do, and it kind of just stops there. So one of my passions for being in this position, not only as a patient, but a medical professional, being able to see both perspectives and know that when it comes to the reproductive health and overall wellness, just know that the standard treatment, surgery and medication, does not offer a permanent solution. So a lot of women are getting repeat surgeries, and then to the point they get tired of it, and then they just take the whole uterus out, which is, usually a hysterectomy. So know that having your OBGYN, right? Definitely always have that, getting your regular pap smears and regular wellness checkups. But in additional to that, I really strongly recommend having some type of functional practitioner, whether it be a functional nutritionist. One of the things that I went back to school to pursue, because how it's closely related to the hormones and the reproductive health. A holistic doctor, also having one of those, and some type of health coach, any one of those. And what I help women do, just to not only advocate for them, but be a resource and guide them through this journey where it's like, go to the doctor, you're going to ask for this. You know what? I want you to consider that decision that your doctor told you, because your goals are this. Really helping women know what they want and be able to speak for it and find a doctor that resonates with it. So I would encourage women to, when you're looking for your doctor, interview them to be on your team. Okay, you are the one in charge, right? You are the one that is a team player. They are not your managers. They are not in charge of your health. So having that mindset, knowing that I need someone to be on my team, I need a team player, can help you and guide you and do these interviews to see the right doctor for you, right? And once you find an OBGYN that you can resonate with, also, again, look into someone that has some type of functional background, holistic doctor, and that's, again, one of the things that I do for women to complement this OBGYN that you have, so that way you're also being able to get an integrative type of care to prevent the reoccurrence of fibroids and be able to get to the underlying issues that may have contributed to this diagnosis in the long run.
Amazing. So I took some notes because my listeners know I love taking notes. So what I heard is you are interviewing your practitioner. I love that. I never thought about that. That's amazing. You should have a team on your side. A lot of our guests in the past resonated with this teamwork, right? It's no longer that individualistic. It takes a team, and I love that. Have a nutritionist, a health coach. Build out your team. You said holistically, and ensure that that doctor or practitioner has some type of functionality. So I love that. That is amazing steps that anyone can take. And of course, being an advocate for yourself. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And Maya, you spoke about sisterhood. You spoke about having accountability partners. Yeah. I love that.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh man, I could talk to you guys all night. No, this is amazing conversation. And I'm so excited talking about it because I knew nothing of it. I know so many people who have, like you said, had to have a hysterectomy or just went through it solely by themselves. And I love the fact that here we are building a community, educating others. I love that. Phyllis, I got to ask you though, fibroid queen, what makes you the queen? Come on now.
Yeah, I love, I get fired up with that question, and
Yes.
I had so much animosity and confusion when I decided to name my business Fibroid Queen. And it's beyond just the fibroids, right? Fibroids are just a physical symptom to a array of issues, underlying issues. And Fibroid Queen, when I think of it, I think of like a superhero. I think of that person that I wanted when I was dealing with the pain and suffering, someone to come save me, someone to tell me, hey, sis, it's going to be okay. Hey, sis, just change your diet. Hey, sis, do this. And that's what I am for women. So when I think of Fibroid Queen, I think of someone that uses fibroids as a reminder to not waver my self-care and be the queen that I am. And the more I do that, the more I can help others. And always don't forget to adjust my crown. And when I think of Fibroid Queen, it's more than just the fibroids, but really putting myself first and helping women do that same thing. So that's what Fibroid Queen is, actually an affirmation for me.
Wow. So beautiful. Man, that's beautiful. Maya, come on. You the yoga queen? What's going on?
Yes.
Let's talk about it. But Maya, come on. Let's talk about yoga and how you have been able to truly transform your body as well through yoga.
Yes. Yoga is something that I incorporated into my life 10 years ago. And actually meditation and all of that started for me when I was a child. I used to read a lot. I would read random things and I read about a meditation. And so I started doing it at the end of my school day to help me unwind. So even as a child, I had the thought process that, you need to unwind after having a long day of school. So
That's
even
right.
so that carried over to adulthood. But how many times do you hear people talking about like, when is the last time I could even go to the bathroom in peace? Or when is the last time that I could take a deep breath, put my feet up? And so that's one thing that I advocate for my friends, for the people around me, for the community. And one thing that I'm really passionate about is just a natural approach to things. And as Phyllis already tapped on, is that we are really exposed to so many toxins every day. Think about some of the sanitary products that we have been using since we were teenagers. And some of them, honestly, are not good for us. And we are putting that, so close to our bodies. And we are absorbing these toxins, which then in turn, our body is reacting with inflammation and disease. And so spreading the knowledge that I have gained in my own journey and my own quest to live a better life and to live a life that is free of some of the symptoms that I've dealt with, because I've been that person who's been taking pain medication, who's been balled up in the bed, can't, move for 2 days. So taking back my life and being able to share that knowledge with other people is amazing. And so I was so grateful to become connected with Phyllis and join the Womb Wellness community on Facebook. It's amazing because you can literally type in a question and somebody's like, girl, I've been through this. You know what I mean? And it's a sisterhood. And that's what is really big for me, is that instead of you maybe asking your 5 closest friends and hoping that someone can relate, no, you got hundreds, thousands of friends who, you may not have never ever met, who you can type in and say, hey, has anyone ever experienced this? Or this happened to me. And, this was the reaction from taking this medication. Has anyone experienced this? And more than likely, someone's going to chime right in within minutes and say, oh yeah, this is what happened. And this is how I dealt with that. And this is how we as a community, as women in general, this is how we heal. And this is how we stop some of this stuff that has been passed on from generation to generation. This is how we stop it from going to the next generation.
With education and empowerment. I love that.
With education and empowerment, and by moving our bodies.
So my friend wanted me to ask, she was like, you got to ask them this. So I was like, hold on, let me get the question out. So she was like, she wanted to know, how is the pain actually, okay, let me get the question. She actually gave me the question to ask you guys. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right. She said, what is some advice? And maybe this is for you, Phyllis. What is some advice can women take when looking or researching a good GYN? What is some advice? I think you kind of hinted on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I would, definitely. I would start with your insurance. These days, at least what I've seen with Aetna, I'm able to go on and filter out the demographics of a GYN. So whether you want to go with someone of color, a female, someone that has extra, well, and this is probably something you can find out when you meet with them, you know, and don't be afraid to ask, you know, doctor, what's your, you know, if you choose to go down the surgical route, you want to ask the doctor, you know, how many surgeries have you performed and how many were, you know, get the ratio of, you know, the number of surgeries to the ones that probably have not been so successful, right? Also, being aware of your goals. So the thing is, I highly believe in the law of attraction. So get yourself right mentally, get like prepared, like pumped up, work out for this doctor's visit, right? So I'm going to tell you how to prepare. And then you can start looking into how to find a doctor. So know what you want to do, have an idea, because you're just going to go to the doctor for confirmation, right? The doctor's not going to tell you what to do, but advise you on whatever you decide to do. So know what your plan is, have an idea, and then you come to the doctor with questions. Number 2 is have your good idea of your history. So whether you have medical records, all of that stuff, have it sent to that doctor. That way they have just a full profile of where you were and your history. And then third thing is asking the doctor, you know, their just their background on how they feel about wellness, overall wellness, because we know that if you do choose surgery, procedures or medications, those are not permanent solutions, right? It's best to focus on lifestyle, mental, emotional health, addressing those things, as well as, if you choose that, doing more of an integrative approach to really get ultimate wellness. So ask them how the doctor feels about that, because if the doctor is sick and does not have healthy ways or doesn't regard themselves outside of what they do, then that energy is going to reflect on your care, right? So you want to check those things out. So once you know all that, you know, go through your insurance, see if they can break it out demographically in regards to what you're looking for in a doctor. And then I would schedule an appointment with a couple of different doctors and then kind of go from there, whoever resonates with you the most.
Awesome. I love that. Awesome. Being very intentional. Yes.
Can I add to that too? I think that in addition, as someone who's had to find a new GYN when I moved, what was important for me was looking at reviews. You know, you can find reviews of doctors online, see what other people had to say. Because for me, it's a whole picture. I need to know, how does the office operate? Are they professional? It's already a bit of a stressful environment sometimes, or a stressful thing to think about dealing with this stuff. So am I going to a place that's professional, where people are caring or considerate? That's something that's important to me. Does this doctor have bedside manners, or am I going to feel like I'm being rushed out every time I go to the doctor's office? Is this doctor going to be open to hearing from me? And so a lot of times you can find that from reviews online, and asking, you know, if you know anybody who happens to be a patient of that doctor, asking questions of them. And so I think that is a big key that, you know, we have access to now, is finding reviews online. And of course, if someone has hundreds of reviews, you might really have to sift through them, and there's one bad one, you're like, I don't know. But if they're mostly good, then that could give you an indication. And then again, listen to your body. Listen to your body and listen to how your body responds when you're in the office with that person. That you can feel a vibe. And if you don't feel the vibe, and if it's not clicking, or even if it did click in the beginning and then you start going to that doctor and it doesn't click, you can feel free to roll out. And sometimes it can be even within that same medical group. You find you're like, I love that medical group, but this particular doctor didn't work for me. Switch to someone else within the practice. That can help as well.
That's amazing. I love that. Man, the nuggets you guys are dropping is amazing. Awesome. Well, I love it. You guys you hit everything. You hit everything on the knob. Maya, you spoke a little bit about breathing. So what are 3 or maybe 5 quick breathing techniques that our listeners can partake in?
Yes,
to de-stress.
Actually, to de-stress.
To de-stress.
First of all, just deep breath. Taking some moments to take some deep breaths, closing your eyes, breathing in deeply, allowing the air to come up and fill up your lungs, and then slowly exhaling it out. And one of my favorites that I actually shared with my coworkers the other day is box breathing. So with box breathing is great because you're integrating breathing techniques with visualization. And so that helps to keep your mind focused. So you're not thinking about your to-do list, what's for dinner, kids, work, all these things. So with box breathing, essentially you're envisioning drawing a box. So if you're starting at the bottom left corner of the box, you inhale for 4 as you're drawing the first line. And then you hold for 4 as you go across. You're holding your breath. You exhale for 4 as you go down the side of the box. Then hold the breath for 4 across the bottom. And you continue like that. And you will find that is something that's actually used by Navy SEALs. It is taught to Navy SEALs to help them under stressful situations to not panic. And so it is a great breathing technique to reduce anxiety and to help you to de-stress. Just a few minutes of it can significantly impact your day and help you to not have your body in a crisis all the time, the fight or flight that we are constantly faced with, to have your body be at a place of rest, a place of relaxation, instead of always feeling like it's fighting for air, fighting for, oxygen. I think that is a great one. And it's very simple. And if you need guidance, if you want to do a guided version, there's plenty of them on YouTube. You just type in box breathing and someone will walk you through the breaths. But it's 4 breaths in, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold, and you just continue to visualize yourself drawing that box.
Wow, that's amazing. You guys gotta come back on. This is some powerful stuff. I'm so happy. I just want to thank you so much. I know you ladies are super busy. And I just want to thank you so much for availing yourself to this conversation. It's much needed. I'm so appreciative of your time. Thank you. Ladies, I'm so excited because I want to be a part of the retreat. You guys have an awesome retreat that you're working on and putting together, and I'm super excited about it. Tell us a little bit about the retreat and what are the benefits and if I get any discounts,
Yeah.
Sister
Yeah, she's like, do I get discounts? You know what? We got you. We got you on the next one, okay? So, but this is, really a retreat where you can come and develop a way of being in a space to cultivate the mind where you can come back with your own personal retreat, right? We want to take you to an environment, as we talked about before. Environment is huge, where you can relax, you can be around other like-minded women, you can be able to enjoy and not have to worry about the bells and whistles, the timing, all that stuff. Just, come to enjoy and release. And it's for every woman, whether it be you're dealing with a womb challenge or you're not. We all need this. And these days, to cope with life, we have to take time out for ourselves. And that's what this wellness retreat is, and being able to devour into other healing modalities, like sound bowl therapy, waist beads, things that could ignite your creative juices where you're coming back like, man, I'm ready for whatever life has to bring to me, and I'm ready to make this a consistent practice. But Keith, I mean, just fill them in on like what this all entails.
Certainly. So we are going to Mexico. So we're starting off the top of the year, January 2022. It'll be here before you know it. So we're starting off the top of the year, pouring into ourselves. You know how they say, and you get on the plane. I just got on the plane today. They say, if there's an emergency, you put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help anybody else. And so this is an opportunity to put the oxygen mask on yourself, revitalize yourself before you're trying to help save everybody else in your community, everybody else in your family, everybody else in your friend circle. You can't pour from an empty cup. So this is literally your opportunity to step away from the responsibilities of life. Join us in Mexico. We're going to the beautiful area of Acumal, which is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And so we'll be doing glamping. So if you've never done glamping, it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So it's like camping, but more luxurious. So you have a bathroom. You're not like digging a ditch to go to the bathroom. You have a bathroom facilities. Food is included, healthy food that is living, food that is nourishing. Food is included in the retreat. So you don't have to worry about what you're going to eat. We already have it planned out for you. Phyllis and I will both be teaching yoga and meditation classes available to you every day. You can take classes every day, or you can opt to sleep in some days. It's your retreat, so you can do it how you feel like it. Like Phyllis mentioned, sound bowl therapy, the vibrations that will help to heal and get us in alignment. Learning about the divine feminine, learning about womb wellness, nutrition. We have a cooking class. Okay, you're gonna come back knowing how to cook some nutritious and healthy meals that will help to, heal your body, and then will help to nourish your body on your path to healing. And then we have an awesome masseuse. He's going to give a full body massages included for every single registrant. And so we're excited because we have blended what we believe is the perfect balance of workshops and learning with physical movements that you can take into your home workouts, as well as the relaxation. Relaxation is built into every single day. You're not going to leave this retreat thinking, oh gosh, I'm so exhausted from this retreat. They had every second of the day planned. No. There is relaxation built into the retreat so that you can take the moment, figure out what you want for your life, think about some changes that you may want to make in your own life coming back. Because the goal is that no one is going to come back the same way they got there after spending a week with us in Mexico. So we start off in Acumal, and then we're going to Tulum. So we'll be in 2 places in Mexico. We're going to be there for a week. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And so if you're interested in joining, you can register at www.warriorsofthewomb.com. That's also our Instagram handle. We'll continue to put information and knowledge out there for women who need information regarding womb wellness, health tips. And so we're excited about just creating this opportunity for women to come together, to have that sisterhood, to lean on each other, to heal together, and to grow together and come back stronger.
Absolutely. I love it. That's amazing. Well, I know we're excited about that. And as we wrap up, I just want to ask you, and we can wrap it up on a good note here, because we are part of the Daily Gospel Network, and we are so happy with that new partnership. How has spirituality, in a nutshell, spirituality assisted you with your career, or even in your walk, in your journey?
Yeah, that's a very powerful question. I would say it's assisted me to think outside the box. I grew up Christian. My family's from Ghana, so there was very strict values and attitudes and behaviors that were instilled into me as a child, where it limited my way of thinking and sometimes left me mentally handicapped with a lot of things I was dealing with in this society that we live in, where I had to seek guidance through a community of people that were very cultivating and inspiring, where they were more spiritual. And that energy resonated with me, where I kind of dove deep into that. At this point, I'm still finding myself as I'm healing too, on, on this journey that I'm on. But for the most part, spirituality played a huge role in opening up my mindset.
Amazing. Maya?
I think that even just this retreat, the fact that we're putting ourselves out here, it takes space. You have to have faith that what you're doing is what the community needs. And this is what we truly believe. I once did a course through my former church, and it was called Experiencing God. And in that course, one of the things that was discussed was sometimes you're given a God-sized appointment, a God-sized assignment. 26 million women dealing with this. That is a God-sized assignment to be put on assignment to facilitate healing for others. And so I'm excited, and I'm, just ready to be a vessel to assist somebody. So even if I help one woman, then my job is done, but being able to have a platform where I can help even more by putting information out here, being in conversations like this, hosting retreats, I think that is a God-sized assignment. And I'm grateful to be in partnership, to use myself, to use my experience as my purpose and in my passion to assist other women.
Yes, amazing. And you guys are doing that. You ladies are doing that. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the Chop It Up podcast. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, Maya. God bless you with your mission. I will be there. Hopefully, my listeners, you guys, please subscribe. We'll definitely share our guest social media for more information and truly build out this community. If you like this episode, as you guys already know, like, subscribe, share this amazing content. This platform was created on the grassroots level to have these amazing conversations and to create these dynamic synergies. So ladies, thank you so much. Best of luck on your retreat.
Thank you.
Again, thank you. You're welcome. Again, like, share, and subscribe to the Chop It Up podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Ladies, it's been a pleasure. Good night.
Good night.